What's going on, everybody? How are we doing tonight? I hope everybody's having a fantastic night. I know I am just getting back from the Alabama Bigfoot conference. Had a great time. Got to see all kind of cool people. Got to see MK, David Eller, Tex. I even got to steal Tex's hat and put it on, take a picture. Had to. He put it down, so yeah, I'm gonna do that. Worth it. But anyways, so you guys know the drill. Be sure to make sure you guys have all hit the like button and do me that little favor. Comment away in the live. Off after the show, be sure to leave a comment. Really helps the algorithms. I appreciate that greatly. But yeah, so let's see here. Housekeeping. Make sure you guys go and check out the merch. Go and check out the Patreon, most especially. $1 make you holla a month. That's what funds me buying equipment to be able to go out into the field and do all the fun stuff. Now, all the boring stuff out of the way. Now, with all that being done now, let's go ahead and get our guest up here, Mr. Mike. He is a really cool dude, and I think y'all are going to like him. So, welcome to the stage, Mike.
Yes,
What's
sir.
up, buddy?
How you doing? What's going on, everybody?
How are you doing?
Good, man.
Cool. Well, Mr. Mike,
Thanks
tell
for
us a little
thanks
bit
for
about
having
you,
me on.
buddy. Yeah, for sure. Tell the audience a little bit about you, bud.
My name is Mike Aguilar. I'm part of the Florida Bigfoot Research Group. We're a research group down in Florida. We've been around for about 6 or 7 years now. I've been doing this for about 8 or 9 years, about 8 years. I'll tell you in a few minutes. I can give you a story about how I got into this, but I've been part of the group pretty much with me and Marie since I started pretty much with her, and we pretty much travel up and down the state doing whatever we are invited to do. We go to different camping sites and we take people camping with us and go out on Bigfoot hunts at night with kids, all kinds of cool stuff, man. We go up and down the state.
Very cool. Yeah, for sure.
And I live with the prettiest member of the group. She's in the other room.
Oh, that's
Christina. And we got Ruby. And then my son, Kalen. And that pretty much makes up the base of the team.
Which reminds me, actually, everybody, that Mr. Kalen is in the running for... What kind of competition is that again?
Kalen, my son, is in the Junior Ranger competition, and we're trying to get him all the votes so he has a chance to go hang out with Jeff Corwin and become the next Junior Ranger. He's like the most outdoor little guy you'll ever meet. He's awesome. He's on a lot of videos with us, and you can go to our website too. It's Mid-Florida. Everything's Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research. You go on the website, the Facebook page is all the same, and you'll be able to find us.
Yep.
But my son's in the running for that Junior Ranger. And that'd be awesome. He's well deserved of it. I can't wait to see if he can make it. He's in the top 10 now in his group.
Nice. Well, Pam is dropping the link there in the chat, and you guys see it here on the screen. So everybody, please go do me a favor and be sure to vote for that.
Yeah, when you click on his link and you see, man, you'll see he's a fun little dude. He's out in the woods. He's the youngest researcher I know. He got on stage with me in front of 2,000 people at the Florida conference and told a story. I was blown away by that.
Wow. That's awesome. That's very awesome. Yeah, let's see if we can't make that happen. That would be awesome. So now tell us a little bit about the Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Organization. Now, when you say they take people out like to go hiking and all that, or Bigfooting and all that, like, is there links in the Facebook? Like, how do they promote that?
We have our Facebook page, and we've got over 9,000 people in our Facebook group, and that's usually where we promote it. We promote everything through there, and we'll let them know, hey, we're having a hike coming up or a camp out, and we'll go like to the Green Swamp, or we've been down to the Everglades and did it at David Shealy's place down at Skunk Ape headquarters. And that particular time, we met up with a bunch of they were having an alligator festival going on there, and because David Shealy's and Marie Dumont, the leader of our group, they work together for the the alligator wrestling competition, and they're real big. They're real big into it. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So
World, it's
hopefully
the World Alligator Wrestling,
that's cool.
and we
I
get
hope.
we get to hang out with all the Miccosukee and the Seminole Indians down there with all the alligator wrestlers. It's awesome.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Let's see if we can't drive a little bit of traffic their way too if they promote all that stuff. So
Yeah,
do what we can. Do what we can. Right. So
yeah,
awesome,
good
man.
people.
For sure. Now, as I understand it, you've got a couple experiences as, you've gone out there a couple times. Do you mind to share a little bit of that with us?
Yeah. So I'm a native Floridian, and I've been here, born and raised, and I grew up in an area in Pasco County, Wesley Chapel, to be exact, and that area was built basically on a swamp, and there's a giant preserve back there, and on that preserve's like 10,000 acres, and it's part of the corridor, part of the Florida corridor, and it directly links you there's a creek that runs through, and that creek directly links you into one of our major rivers. That major river, the Hillsborough River, takes you into the Green Swamp. It's all one big circle around our whole area that kind of connects in one corridor. Like everything could hide, and you could hide in there forever and never be seen.
Right.
And I grew up as a kid playing in all that, and as I got older, I didn't realize the things I realize now. When I was younger, I had a lot of weird things happen as a kid, and I'll just tell you my first experience. That's probably the easiest. That's what got me into it.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was going fishing with my buddy. 6 o'clock in the morning, we're going fishing in Homosassa, Florida, and I'm driving down the main road, and everybody knows Homosassa here, but the road we take is another like a little private boat ramp, and it takes you down a road that's kind of a more woodsy road, and there's a section of the road that has like 4 S curves in a row, and you can look up ahead and you can see the curves, but you can see up ahead, and about 75, 80 yards up ahead, I'm coming around the curve, and as I come around the curve, this dude was walking up out of the ditch. He was up ahead. He was coming up out of the ditch, and he was just big guy coming out of the ditch. And as he crossed into the road, the light had just come over the top of the trees, and like half the road was kind of illuminated and half of it wasn't.
Right.
And he walked into that light as he was looking towards me, as I was going around the curve, kind of all at the same time. And when he did, he turned from shadow to cinnamon. And I could see almost like you could tell it was hair, like the sun was behind him, so you could kind of see it. And he wasn't, I don't remember the size of his being as big. It was the height was big. He was, he was tall and lean. And as I'm going around the curve, he looked over, was taking a step, and I went around the curve, came back, he was gone that quick.
Yeah.
I got up ahead, stopped. I was with my friend, and he didn't see it. He was looking out the window. I don't know what he was looking out and how he didn't see it. It walked right in front of us. And I stopped, got out and looked, and I'm like, what the heck did I just see? I didn't believe in this. I'd watched Bigfoot documentaries. I had seen things on TV. I didn't really believe it. You don't believe it until you see it with your own eyes, and it happens, and it's like, and I questioned myself, and I went home for a year. I watched documentaries and did things, and I started going out by myself. And I would go out by myself on all these random trips, and I started. I forgot if I contacted Marie or if she contacted me. Somehow we got together, and I let her in on some of the things that had happened to me when I was out by myself. Because I was out by myself for about 2 years before I met her. And then a lot of my craziest stuff happened in that time when I was out by myself. And it taught me a lot. Like, I mean, I had 2 negative experiences, but now I realize why I had the negative experiences after having positive experiences, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Now that's really interesting, man. The whole color changing is really relevant, especially like for me, like my last outing that I did out in Tennessee, we had discovered some hair that was really long and coarse. And when you would look at it one way, it would be black. But if you looked at it another way, it'd be like a reddish brown color. So, yeah, super interesting.
Yeah. And, I had one of my castings that I've had. Actually, we've had it happen a couple times, but one of my castings I had was one of the most unique castings you'll ever see. I did a casting of what I thought was maybe an alligator print. and I couldn't really tell. It was kind of weird. And my son liked it, and I was taking that print back in my. I have different areas. One area I go into, I've been going for about almost 3 years now, and we frequent it a lot. And if you ever go on our page and you look at our website and you see our videos or whatever we have out, a lot of our stuff comes from that area, and that's our gifting spot, all kinds of stuff that we do in there. And I'm back in that area, and I found that print, and so I came back later with some casting material, and I casted it and went out walking around while I was drying. Came back, and there was marks in the casting that I made, and what it was looks like big fat finger marks had dragged through it after I walked off.
Yeah,
something came by. It was almost like it was just walked by, because I was getting creeped out a little bit. Like, I had a feeling they were there. I can just feel it, when they're there.
Oh yeah.
Especially with this family group. This family group is accepting about letting me and my son and a few people get in there and kind of interacting with vocals and different things. It's really quite amazing, to be honest. And this particular day, I had felt something, but I walked off. Like I said, I come back and there's finger marks in it. I'm like, what the hell is that? And I got it out. Well, I wish I had the cast with me. I'll show you. But the finger marks, like, I have a pretty good sized hand, and they were double as wide as mine and long. And it looked like it just dragged them right through it. Like 2 or 3 fingers went through it. And to see what it was, Yeah. But it did it in the amount of time that I just went down, 10 minutes, came back, 15 minutes, came back, and that was there. It was really, really weird. But in that hair, one of our friends was looking at it, and he found that in that casting, we found a hair. That hair was almost clear.
Yeah.
It was almost completely clear, which I had never seen that before. So it's almost like the hair was able to reflect light whatever way you turned it. It was really weird. Never seen one like that.
Very interesting. Yeah. It makes me wonder if, like, it coming by doing that was it being like investigative about it, or was it kind of being like, hey, I know what you're doing out here, and I noticed that you casted me. Good job.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's what's going on.
I think that it was curiosity, because I get followed around out there a lot by things, and I really think that's what it is. Especially, like, if I got my son with me, he draws a lot of attention. He's always making sounds and noises, and they really like it. Like, he'll go out there and communicate. Like, he'll sit there and make these little noises as we walk in. You'll hear him out there coming back. It's hard for people to believe until they hear it. And it's like, but the moment you bring out an audio recorder, or I bring out my phone to do it, to catch it, it won't happen. It stops.
Every time. Oh, trust me. I know. That's half the battle, is getting them to stay on when you bring out the equipment, or like when you actually get it out, getting the camera to focus on them, right? Yeah. That's always my issue. Like, God,
I've got blurry pictures.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
I got blurry pictures. I got some really good blurry pictures, but I got most of them from recording from behind me. I'd be out walking around, and I would take my phone, and I would just kind of, start doing my thing and looking around, and I record, and I go back and view my footage later. And I started realizing, the more I went out, I got really used to being in that area and hearing everything around me. And I started realizing whatever it was, they had a pretty similar pattern every time I went out there. And I started hearing what they were doing. It was soft, it was subtle, but I heard it. And so I started recording behind me. Yeah. And when I did, I've got one peeping out, going back in. I've got a big shadow of one turned and went back behind a bush. It's because it's really cool. Really, really cool, some of the stuff I got. But in the Bigfoot world, it's just a blurry picture,
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to satisfy everyone. That's just par for the course, right?
Right.
But I mean, I find that to be really awesome, man. I mean, it's super amazing. And is any of that like online for people to check out?
Yeah, we've got a lot of our pictures. A lot of our pictures are on our website. We have a lot of photos in there, a lot of structures, and everything that we've done with the media or up and down the state. Anything we've done is on our website, and it's all logged in there. Marie's really, really good at doing that. She's the one that our boss takes care of everything. She's good at it.
Very cool. Yeah,
we got to travel all the way over to Washington State and do a conference out there. We were invited to come talk. Us and David Shealy, and we all went out there and stayed a week down up in Washington, over in Medellin Falls. that was really, really cool. What a different world it is out there.
Oh, I'm sure compared to Florida. Did
Yeah.
you guys get a chance to actually like go in the woods or anything?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we
Yeah.
got to go. We got to go with Bill and Bill Beeson, and he took us, and we had a blast with him going up there. Except for the fact that the first day we went, he wasn't able to go, and they gave us a Jeep to use. So we were wanting to get out in the woods. So we went out and walked around, and I've got my big Bowie knife because I'm a tough guy, and I got my Bowie knife, and that's all I ever need in Florida. The worst thing that's going to come at me in Florida really is a hog. That's really what I worry about the most. A hog, a panther's going to run off. A gator, the only way I'm going to cross one is if I'm up to my knees in the swamp walking and I see, usually we're not in the water where they're at. So it's hogs, snakes, things like that. Out there, I didn't realize. We were walking around, the whole day. The next day we go out with Bill. He takes us up the mountain to where he wants to go. And he gets out of the Jeep and first thing he does, he grabs his knife, then he grabs his freaking 50 cal on his hip. He takes his AR and puts it around his freaking back. And I'm like, Bill, you let me come out here like this and you're like loaded like this? He's like, Mike, there's 1,000-pound bears up here. I'm like,
yeah.
All right. Well, he's like, we got 200-pound wolves, 1,000-pound bears, 1,000-pound moose. Like, I'm like, all right, I get it. Yeah. It's a little different world.
Yeah. I mean, megafauna is kind of a issue out there for sure. I would always recommend carrying an emotional support pistol. It might not do you any good, but always have it with you just in case.
Yeah. Well, when I first really was going out, and I really started going out, I was by myself, like I said, all the time. And the first two encounters, I had my first initial sighting. The Class A walked in front of me. Well, the next time I went looking for it, and I found things, and I literally took areas that I grew up, and a little bit of that, a little bit of Google Earth, and did some math on things, kind of looking at like a hunter's way of where things would funnel in.
Yeah.
Our area is different than everywhere else probably around the country, because Florida's not a real wide state, and we've got a lot of people packed into little small areas. So the corridors are small. And if you know where to go into the corridors, you find all the game. And that's what I did. And I went in this one. I was out there full camo, stealth man. The wildlife preserve that I grew up in, it is basically it's owned by Swift Mud, and you have to drive basically 2.5 miles on a bicycle. There's no motors, there's no nothing. There's a little access road that they use, but you have to go about 2.5 miles back in there, then get off the bike, and I had to go about another mile hike. So I go quietly to get back to where I wanted to go, where the creek's at.
Right.
Well, I got back there, and this is the first negative. That's what I'm telling you. It's the first negative experience I had. And I'm walking back there, and I said, it's quite a ways back. And a mile, 3 miles back in the middle of nowhere is quite a ways when you think of how secluded you are by yourself back there in the middle of preserve. And I walked down the trail, and I found this little road that leads me to the creek. And it's a little like size of a 4-wheeler trail. And as I turned and went to walk down it, there was a tree this way and a tree this way that was blocking it. They were both right next to each other, blocking one each way, blocking the trail. And as I was coming up to it, I saw 2 small footprints, look like kid footprints. And I was like, "What's really cool?" I'm just starting. So I hadn't really seen footprints, nothing, It looked like little kid footprints, but kind of like fat kid footprints. But not mean that like bad, but a heavy kid footprint. And the best way to say it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I stepped over the tree, and right before I did, you get them gut feelings that hit you, and they're like, hey, these trees were laid down here by something, and they don't want you back here. Mm-hmm. That crossed my mind, and I'm like, everything was saying, don't go. And I went. I stepped over it, took 2 more steps, and I found a 16-inch footprint.
Oh.
And big, nice footprint. And I think there was another one in front of it, and I didn't get a chance to even go to it, because as I'm looking down at this footprint, I heard, we have palmettos everywhere here. And palmettos are super loud if you've ever heard them crash, if you crash into a palmetto. Well, it sounded to me like a tree limb about 4 or 5 inches long around broke and fell into the palmettos. It was quiet, middle of the day. That was the other thing. I went in the middle of the day thinking, if these things are nocturnal, than during the middle of the days when they'd be resting. They'd be bedded down, doing their thing. And I think that's exactly what happened. And this crash, it sounded like something used a stick to get up, and it broke and fell into the palmettos, is what I pictured. It crunched and it pow and it snapped and fell into the palmettos. And then I was like, ooh, I didn't even look. And about the same time, I got hit with this freaking growl. And that growl was the scariest, deepest. It was so terrifying, the growl. It was, it rumbled my soul. It was so big, and I was like, oh, I didn't even want to kind of look. I literally just went, all right, I'm leaving. I didn't look. Okay. I just said, I'm leaving. I turned and started walking out. Well, in order for me to get out, now I've got to walk almost a mile back to my bike. And this thing's on this side of the road. It's on this side, probably 40 yards away. And so I walk up to the end of the road and I turn left. I'm on the same side. I'm walking out. It's on the same side of the road, right? As I'm walking, I hear crunch, 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 crunch. It's walking with me. It's mirroring me. And I'm walking with my butt puckered, like I'm in urgency to get out of there. Right. But I didn't want to run because I wasn't sure what it was. And so I'm walking out. And as I'm walking, I think there was more than one. And I hear the crunch. I stopped. It stopped. It did this game for a while. Yeah. They literally escorted me out. I'm walking down and I start hearing things hitting like trees and different things. I'm hearing stuff. It was sticks. Yeah. They were chucking sticks at me. They were throwing them. They were hitting the trees. They were getting me the hell out of there. Yeah. And it worked. It worked very well. And I got back to my bike and I hauled ass out the fastest I've ever pedaled in my life. And I never, you don't know what primal fear is till you experience it. Okay. And that is terrifying as a man. I'd never had nothing scare me. I'm a Florida boy. I grew up swimming in lakes with gators and everything. That moment changed my life. It was like, I wasn't the badass in the woods, but I made the bike ride back to my truck and I was shaking. And by the time I got back, my ears started getting really sore. They were hurting like really bad. And for 4 days, I had migraines. My ears hurt. They felt swollen. And it wasn't until I talked with the ISRT guys and they told me, like, you got hit with infrasound. I was like, what the heck's infrasound? I didn't even know, what it was. And they told me, and they're like, you got zapped. And that's what it was. And ever since then, now I'm sensitive to when I go out in the woods. It's like my ears are different now. I pick up pressure different. It's weird. But something happened to my ears that day when that growl hit me. It messed my ears up pretty bad.
Yeah, no doubt. That's very interesting. Well, first of all, like, congratulations for being able to maintain that hike for 1.5 miles with something mirroring you. That's really, really cool, man. I mean, that's a hard thing to do. And yeah, you're right. That's extremely life-changing. I mean, it's never really like a fun time when you get too close to one of these things, but normally you back off, they back off, but when they start following you, oh geez, that's a whole different ball game right there. That's when you're reflecting on life decisions and everything, right?
Yeah. After seriously, like I almost, like, I was close to teary-eyed, that scared. Like, I've never been that scared. That thing, it definitely, it put the fear of God in me. But I think it was a family group, and I walked in on it where they rest, and I caught them off guard, and they didn't like it. They didn't like it at all, and they escorted me out. I was, like I said, I was being super quiet. I was all camoed out. I came in there like, very stealth. Right. And then about, I don't know, a few months later, I was with my son. I took him into a place I wanted to go check out. So I said, I'll take him fishing with me. It's a creek over there. It's the same creek, but a whole different part of it, into a whole different area closer to Tampa, where it's another part of the corridor. And so I took him in there and we're fishing, and this creek has like a Z to it, the way it turns. And if you're standing here, you can't see what's over on this side. Right. And so we're standing there fishing, And it's an area I wanted to go, and that's why I was there. It was, because I figured something was living out there, it could be there.
Right.
And I start hearing the barred owls going off. It's like middle of the day, and I'm hearing the barred owls just going off. And usually the barred owls, they have more of a this was more hoo hoo hoo, and it was bigger, deeper sounding, and it was like a lot of them all going at each other. Hoo 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 hoo. It creeped me out a little bit having my son there.
Mm-hmm.
And
sure.
We're sitting there, and he swears, "Dad, I just saw something looking at me across the creek." He said it was peeking out from the tree, looking at him, and it went back. And I'm like, "Come on, man, don't mess with me." He started crying. He's like, "Dude, Dad, I just saw it. I'm telling you." We got home later, and I made him draw me. I said, "Draw me what you saw." And he drew a picture of a Bigfoot sitting there looking at me like this.
Oh man!
And he swears up and down that's what it was.
Yeah.
And, so the next day, I'm all pumped now. I'm like, I got to go back there. So I go back the next day, just me and my dog, and I took her into this spot. Well, this is on it's 2 power line runs that run through. The creek runs through the middle of them. The 2 power line runs, one is kept up by the state. The other one's not. It's all swampy and overgrown, and they don't mow it or nothing. It's just left alone. And it's a whole probably 3 mile long run.
Right.
So it's about every bit of 2.5 miles, 3 miles to walk around to get into it. You got to walk around the creek to get into it to come in. It's the only way in there. Mm-hmm. So I got in there, and I found footprint after footprint back there. It was really an amazing area. I found quite a few. I've got pictures of them. I'm looking at these footprints, and I'm walking down this little trail that goes back, and I found these giant footprints. I said, "There's no way that they were 19 inches long. They were 19 by 9, and they were huge. And there was a squish that was 2 inches tall from where it stepped. And you could tell it was back foot step. And when it pushed down all the weight, it squished it up higher than the front step that had more of a solid print. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get to stride. I'm sitting there literally looking at these footprints, and I got that same feeling I had just gotten, recently with the bad encounter. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, nope, not this time. I'm not. It's not going to happen to me this time. So I got my dog on her leash, and I'm looking at the picture of the footprints, and I was measuring them. I take my pictures, and I get just about done. I put my phone in my pocket, and I'm about to leave, and my dog starts growling. She's this low little rumbling growl, and she's staring at the wood line that's about 30 yards away from me. And that wood line it was about 12, 14 foot tall of bushes. You couldn't see into it. It was real thick. You can't see it, but you can see the trees that were sticking above it. Mm-hmm. Well, we're sitting there. She's growling at it. And that tree, there was 3 trees. And one of the trees starts moving. It moved again. And then it went. And then, dude, this is a tree that's, it's a good sized tree, 40, 50 foot, 50, 60 foot tall. And it's shaking like it was nothing. And then that whole tree went over. That was followed by what I consider a stomp. It sounded like something stomped. Boom. And then, yeah. And when it did that, my dog turned, and she almost hung herself on the trying to get away. She was she wanted no part of it. I was terrified. I'm like, I'm leaving. I'm walking out of there, calling my best friend. I'm like, dude, remember when I told you I was going? I told you you're the only one that knows where I'm at. I'm there, and there's something just pushed a damn tree over in front of me, and it's after me. It's behind me.
Yeah.
I didn't even look back. I didn't even know if it was coming, what was going on. I was out. Because now I got a 2 mile walk back to where my truck's at.
Oh, no.
And I was terrified the entire walk back. But long story short, nothing ever happened. That was 2 times they protected their family. They did what they were supposed to do because some jerk came in full camo, sneaking into their house, into their back door. And I realize that now. That's what I was doing. I was the bad guy. I was sneaking around, being quiet. And I know that now because of being around this group that in the area we go all the time. And I walk in, the first thing I do when I walk in is whoop. And I make it, I'm here. Mm-hmm. I say, hey guys, I'm here. I do it every time, everywhere I go. I ask permission. I tell them I'm coming. Everything. And Thomas Seward up in Washington State, he's awesome, and he's a native up there. I can't Papwakawakawak tribe. I can't say his name ever right, but that tribe he's part of a really big tribe that is all revolved around Sasquatch, and he's awesome. And he's told me a lot of things to do and say and try when I'm in the field, and I did, and I've never had issues since then. I make my kids do it. I make the group do it, and we have never had a bad encounter ever since then.
Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, do you guys like leave them gifts or bless you or anything like that when you're out there?
What's that?
Do you guys go and like leave them gifts or anything like that?
Yeah. At the main area that we've been going into for a few years, I have a tree there, and that tree, I started off small with different things, and then I had another spot about a block away from there. I used to gift at both of them to kind of see what would happen. And I found out that Reese's peanut butter cup seems to be the staple. I think it's the peanut butter mixed with the bright orange kind of stands out. But every time I put them there, I come back and they were torn open or like completely bit open, but never bit like a raccoon or a possum, or it was more like a person, or something with opposable thumb being able to, be able to tear it. And I would find stuff from this gifting spot over at the other gifting spot where they had grabbed it here, taken it over to the other one to see if there was more. And then they started gifting me back. I swear they were gifting me footprints. And nice. I would find footprints and the wrapper by each other. Right. And that's where I've gotten some of my best castings have come from that, from out there. And then it kind of slowed down. We had a really good thing going for a while. We were getting a lot of interaction, and it slowed down. We put cameras up, and everything stopped for a while. Right. So what did they do? There's a fence that's a perimeter up there where I could walk around the edge of the fence to get back to the preserve. And they tore down a section of the middle of the fence. There's woods in between. If the fence runs down the middle of a wood line. So no vehicle had gotten over to it, and a person couldn't do what was happened. The whole fence was dented in and dropped down to the ground, and the barbed wire stretched open and it become a new game trail right dead center in the middle of our game cameras, and only about 20 yards from our gifting spot. So they were still able to go get their stuff and never be caught on camera.
Wow. That's a lot of work to just avoid a camera.
Right?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm super impressed by the wrapper next to the footprint. Like, is it once again, is it I'm on the go and eating on the go and just drop it where it goes and yada yada, or is it like I'm gonna leave you a little something? Thank you for the wrapper. Here's my acknowledgement of said candy bar. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's so cool. That's very interesting. So Reese's peanut butter cups. Huh?
Yeah, that area, man. If you go back, like I said, we got a lot of cool things that have been found out there. It's really mind-boggling. Like, a lot of people don't realize that place. Like, it taught me a lot about these things, and there's no doubt in my mind. I mean, I've seen them, I've heard them, interacted. It's not like they come out and say, "Hey, here's my kids, come play with us," but they're there, and it's not a negative feeling back there ever. We've even used meters. We've taken meters back there that were radio wave meters, and reading, and go everywhere else. And we're in these areas where they're at, and we're getting readings that are, off the chart where there shouldn't be any readings like that. And then we brought the same tools over to this area, and nothing. Like, it came up, and as soon as it came up and I started talking, it went back down, and those levels went down and never came back up again. It's really, really odd. Like, oh, okay, you're good. We're good. We're good to go.
Wow. And this is on an EMF? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting. Do you remember what the numbers are, perchance?
I don't, but I know that because I've never been the techie guy.
Yeah.
And we used to have another group member that would go out with us, and he was really more into it. And we were back in the Green Swamp one time, and the meter's going off, spiking. Like, he's like, dude, that's dangerous readings we're getting right now. And he's like, and his wife was joking around. I said, make a sound, let them know it's you or something. I'm joking around. I'm like, woo, like, hey guys, we're good. We're not hurting. That meter went whoop, flat. It was good the rest of the day.
Wow.
I have no idea why. It was just the weirdest thing.
Yeah, man, that's so interesting. I understand totally. I had the exact same thing happen last time I was out. It didn't really go down from us talking, but then again, I'm not always the most friendliest of people with these things anyways. But that's just me,
Right.
I've had a few negative experiences in my time, so
well,
we don't normally play nice.
Well, like I said, I think I figured out the reason behind my negative ones, and I've had positive ones all going forward, and I know what to know. I know what to feel. If I feel that I know, hey, that's telling you not to go there. That's right. You're too close. They're too close, and they don't want you there. I mean, they let you know. There's one back in the main area that I grew up in, and still to this day, if I go back there, it's the same spot I had the first bad encounter, and I always get creeped out back there. And I think it's a big alpha, and he knows something he does makes you feel a certain way, and it's terrifying.
Oh yeah, they definitely have a presence about them. I get that for sure. What do you think it is though? Like when you say you get a feeling, like what do you think that feeling is? Is it like just subconscious, or do you think it's something in the environment or a vibe that they're giving off that's affecting you?
Well, I'm very, very ADHD, and I know quite a few people that are ADHD. My son's one of them too. And everybody I know that's in this field that has ADHD, coincidentally, you're naturally already more in tune with everything around you when you're ADHD. It is just happy. Like you're in tune with touch, sound, everything a little more. And you have a better intuition. Like I can walk into the room and tell you who's the bad guy. Right. I can feel negative and positive energy. I feel it real strong. And they put it out real strong. And I think they can feel it real strong as well. I think they pick up on it. So if you go into the woods and you're in there negative or you have bad intentions, I think they know that. And you go in there like a family man with or whatever, you're being respectful and doing things that way. I think they act different.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's possible. It's very possible.
Do you guys have
Come back, Mike? Oh no, we lost him. Oh no. Well, we'll see if he comes back in. Oh, yep. There he is. You good? Give him a second. And good? All right. There you are.
Sorry, it completely just crashed.
It happens. I'm sorry. So what were you asking now?
I was saying, it's like when you walk into your woods, like you go into a set of woods you've been to, or the first time, or been there 100 times. When you walk in, do you ever just hear different animal sounds right off the bat, or when you get into certain areas, you'll hear things?
It depends. From my experience, when I know that they are around, everything is dead silent. Like there's a predator. Right. But whenever that's not the case, but yet you still get like the gut feeling of you're being watched. It feels like there is animal noises that goes on. Some of them are odd or out of season or just plainly out of place, and it's kind of like a cue. Like we were mentioning about the barred owls earlier. Like I've heard that, and that's a very interesting one. I don't really know what to make of it all. The silence makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But
yeah. The reason I said that, I was just curious because I guess I've learned a lot, like I said, from that area mostly, and I've really learned a little bit about the vocals. This is just me. This is what I'm taking out of it. I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but this is what's happened when we go. And I noticed it time after time. I would get out there, and it's the moment I get into the area that starts their, what I call, their region, their area. When I get into their territory, the first thing I do is I hear a barred owl go off. One barred owl, kind of in the distance a little bit. And then out in the distance, I hear another one, and then another one. It's always three in a triangle almost. And it happens twice and stops. And then it goes what you're talking about, that quiet, that deathly quiet. And then they're there. I know they're there when it gets to that quiet like that quiet you can hear.
Yeah. You can
and
feel it.
You can feel it. You can hear it. And and it's like they do it twice or three. They do that three calls twice, and then it goes to that. And it's like they're there, and you won't hear another peep. Now, if it's me and my son back there, usually, and we're back, and I'll come in and I'll just, and he'll, and you'll hear out in the distance. Sometimes, and we've had them come. Keep communicating, coming. I don't know anything else that makes that sound out there. Right. It's a super loud, just one, and you can hear it from so far away. And we've heard them come closer and closer and closer until, and then it just like goes silent. And then they're there. And so that's the two things that we have happen on the most frequently out there with audio wise.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And the other thing that I do notice, like once the interaction that they're having with you or whoever is done, like as soon as they back away and no longer are showing interest in you, it's like the atmosphere just changes, right? Like the heaviness and the death silence just goes away, and it's like light and airy, like wow, that was that's crazy. That's weird.
It's like I can breathe again.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah. We were out with the group one day, the whole group, and we were in one of Ruby's areas, and we're all going, and I'm like, no, we got to go this way. I could tell ever since I got zapped, I swear I feel that energy they put out, that it makes pressure in my ears, and I feel it when I'm close to them. And it's like a beacon. Like I can follow it to them. It's weird. And I followed that, and there was this big, thick pile of palmetto and bush and everything. I'm like, no, we got to go this way, guys. And I turned and went down this trail towards that. And right before I got to that, man, the most energy I've ever felt in my life hit me. And I got zapped again. I didn't even realize it. Yeah. And there was a wall. I couldn't go into those palmettos if I wanted to. It was so weird. And I took a few steps back, and I walked off, and I got dizzy, and I was almost about to throw up. And I went and sat down, and I'm like, everybody's like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know. I said I was starting to go that way, and I couldn't walk into those woods. Like like I felt like I was a wall there. And a few minutes later, I did throw up. I got sick. It was like I was having almost like a heat stroke type feeling, really, really sick. I was completely fine. I went from completely fine to completely sick. And that was the second time that I can say I got zapped.
Yeah. Bless you.
That pressure is real.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They when I describe it, like all of my experiences, it's always like a barometric pressure that you just feel when things are about to go down. It's really strange. And then also, like you're saying about being zapped, like when I got my first zap, it was very much like that. Like I felt like it was more of a beam that hit me, and as soon as I was able to get out of that area, that's when things started feeling better. Now, granted, I didn't throw up, but I was like that close. I laid down in the ground, man. I was just doing everything I could to just chill out and not blow chunks, right?
Right.
But yeah. I mean, it's very much like a focused beam, and I'm not one to think that is infrasound in that particular instance,
right?
Because I don't think anything could sustain that much vocal power for that long to be able to make such a thing. But I don't know really what that is. Like the best way. What
if it's not one? What if it's the group does it? And that's the other thing I think. What if it's a group? Because the way I got hit that day was different than the first time. The first time I heard that growl and it hit me. I didn't even feel what hit me. Like I didn't even know. And that's what everybody said. What got you was before you heard it. Before you felt and heard the growl, the one you felt is the one that got you, not the one you heard. And This day, there was no growl, there was no nothing. It was just like a wall of energy coming at me, and it was so strong, man. It was weird. I've still never felt that ever again. Nothing like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. You know, the only way I know to describe that feeling is have you ever had a MRI or CT scan where they give you the IV with contrast?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Weird feeling.
Yeah, they start pumping that contrast into you. It's like you
Gets
get
warm.
the nausea, and it's like almost instant, you know. That's exactly what it felt like to me.
Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
on steroids, but yeah.
Now you say that, it is kind of like that. Yeah. That feeling of it's just a nauseous, uneasy feeling, like
Mm-hmm.
like it coursing through your veins, basically. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And you know, as I always say, you know, with that, what the contrast is, you know, it's like medical grade radiation. So, what is it really? I don't know, but you know, I tend to lean a little bit more towards the woo side of things with Bigfoot. But I mean, either way, I mean, you know, no matter how you look at it, you know, it's all very real and it's all very physical when it's here, right? So
Right.
who really knows?
Well, you know, I had the closest. I can tell you the last my closest one I had. I've seen tree peekers. I've seen some things out in the woods. I've seen some really, you know, and it's you get one chance to see it. It's there. It's gone that quick.
Yep.
Just enough to mess with your brain. But one night in particular, this is the closest I've been, and I was about, I would say, 16 to 18 feet away from something that was almost 8 foot tall. And it was the largest thing I've ever seen in my life, and it was terrifying, but it was cool at the same time. But
Right.
we were doing a group camp out in the Green Swamp, and we had like maybe three different research groups together, and we were all just out doing our thing. And at the end of this road, there's these ponds, and behind the pond, it was a big field and just the ponds out there. And then, so the field was perfect because they wanted to do like UFO stuff and some other things too. So we were out there in this big field, and the big thick wood line is behind there. And this is like, once you get to that wood line, there's nothing for 20, 30 miles out in the woods. And we're sitting there, they're making a lot of different sounds, call blasting, trying all kinds of different things. And I told my friend Tim, I'm like, hey, if they're making all that sound, you know, they could be attracting things that's sitting on that wood line, probably, you know, wanting to see what the heck's going on. And it was about 150, 200 yards away from where they were. So I said, hey, I'm going to go, you've got your thermal, right? And I said, he's like, yeah. And I said, well, I'm going to go walk that line, keep the thermal out on me and watch me go down it, you know? And so I'm walking down that line, and I got that feeling, that one of them feelings. And I kind of like felt the pressure a little bit, and I saw an opening, and I walked into that little opening, and it was a berm. If you've ever seen how they do fire berms, how they, you know, they dig, and then there's always the big berm on the top. Well, this is probably 20-year-old berm because there were like 8-inch trees growing out of it. So it was old fire berm. Well, I didn't realize it at the time, but there could have been anything back there behind that berm watching us. We never seen it because the berm and then the woods. So I walked into it, and I had my headlamp on. And as I walked up, the thing was about 6 foot high. And as I walked up it with my headlamp on, I heard something behind it walking. So I turned off my light, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I hear it crunch, crunch, crunch. Like it wanted me to hear it. You know, it was loud.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it's almost like it wanted me to hear it. And then and I laughed because I had no idea I was that close to something. And then I got that funny tickle in my tummy, and I'm like, "Ooh, God, what is that?" You know. And I looked over, and as I looked over, I got my headlamp to my right. The berm runs to my right at an angle. Behind it, it drops off, and the trees were going up out of it. As I turned to the right, I hit my headlamp and turned it on. I still had my hand on it, you know, in the button.
Yeah.
So I turned it on. I turned. As I turned it on, he was there. Right there, 15, 16 feet away, standing. Half his body was kind of trying to hide behind the pine tree, and the limb, he was right parallel with a limb, and the limb was like this going across his chest. And I could see, all I saw, I don't remember anything from the bottom. I just remember seeing those shoulders going into that head. Right. And it looked almost dreadish looking. But when my light hit it, it was an LED light, bright, really bright, like probably like at least a 2,000 lumen light from that close. And when I turned it on him, he lit up. And I scared myself when I saw him, and I turned the light off as quick as I turned it on. So, because you jump.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
went,
yeah.
I jumped. Oh shit! I clicked, and I clicked it off. And I was like, oh God! I turned and I went out.
Yeah, yeah.
As I'm walking out, I'm kind of like, oh God, but I'm like, oh my God, I could have just reached out and touched that thing, dude. He had black skin. It was almost purple. It was like blackish purple skin. The light lit it up through the hair, and this thing was like oily looking blackish purple skin. I'll never forget it ever in my life. He had his back to me.
Yeah.
His back was to me, so all I could see was the muscle and the purplish black skin.
Very interesting.
And
now,
real quick, this is the best part of it. I get back to Tim. I'm like, Tim, oh my God. He's like, dude, you just came out of there all puckered. And we didn't realize it at the time. He went back and looked at the video. There was a thermal image right there. You could see the thermal image of me going in. Yeah. You see me coming out, and this thing was there. It never moved. It just stays there. He never moved ever.
Wow.
He just went freeze mode and never moved. But from that far away, you really couldn't tell it had what shape it was and the angle. You just saw the heat signature beside the tree.
Okay. Well, I mean, to be fair, he was probably trying to blink the spots out of his eye because he just flashed him that hard.
I just blinded him with a few thousand lumens, a couple feet away.
That'll do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow, interesting. So now, as far as like the detail goes, like, how would you describe its hair?
Very coarse. This in particular, it was kind of coarse, and it wasn't super long. I would say, I 2 to 3 inches long. It wasn't very long, and which kind of makes sense thinking about something that lives in Florida where it's super hot. That you got the hair is going to help you with the mosquitoes and everything, but he was definitely more lean though. He wasn't. It wasn't. It was still, again, it was that fast, but it's like a tattooed into your eyes and your brain, like boom. And I just see that head with the shoulders and that purple skin, but his hair I remember the hair wasn't quite as thick as I would have pictured it.
Yeah.
I remember that. It was like maybe because the light hit it the way it did with that white light, I could see through it really clear.
Yeah.
Like looking at a person that was really hairy,
Right. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Like, was its hair shiny or not shiny?
No, I didn't. No, it wasn't shiny. If it was, it didn't shine to me. If it was, it didn't seem to be shiny. He actually looked his skin looked kind of oily. I just remembered that. I don't know why I say that. I remember that. It was something that looked oily, but his hair was kind of ready looking. It was kind of a little bit nappy. It wasn't like beautiful hair, it was just a little nappy.
Yeah.
But it was that quick, man. But it was tattooed in my brain.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, interesting. Were you able to get like a good picture of the face and the way that you can describe it, or?
He had his back to me.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just his shoulders and back of his head. It was back to me. So I didn't see anything. The only thing I really got, like I said, I could see the muscle in the shoulder. There was huge, this big muscle in the shoulder, but his shoulders had to be 4 foot wide.
Oh yeah. It's like they don't even have a neck. It's just all trap, right?
Yeah, it just went like this, Yeah. And that's all I saw. It was just there in a branch. He was parallel with that branch. It was just, I happened to turn and hit it just right, And I don't even remember the bottom. I couldn't tell you how much of him was sticking out or not. I just know that he was right even with that branch, and his shoulders were like this above it. So his shoulders and head. And that's what I remember seeing.
Right. Wow. Very interesting. And this is all caught on thermal.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. And I assume this is at the website as well?
No. It's on. I have to ask Tim, but it might be on his page. I have to ask him. It's Tim T. Florida.
Okay.
Is his page? I have to ask him if it's on his page. I'm not sure if it is. It was from quite a while ago. Yeah, I just told that story. I told that story at the conference this year. I went up there during the encounters. I went up there and told it.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. I'd love to see that. I'm gonna have to check into that myself now.
That's going to be a BFRO report too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, that'll be coming out pretty soon. Dr. Bob I was talking to him, and he was trying to help me get it taken care of. He said that should be coming out pretty soon.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, cool. Very nice.
Two of the encounters I talked about are going to be on the BFRO.
Okay. On their website, database, yada yada.
Yeah. Okay. They're going to be documented encounters. My first one in Homosassa and that one, the 2 Class A's.
Ah, okay, cool. Very cool. So I don't know. I guess what else goes on out there, man? You got any more stories for me?
Oh, other than that, man, I play daddy daycare most of the time.
Right. I hear you.
We stay busy. Christina has 2 beautiful kids, and I have 2 beautiful guys, and we stay busy, always doing something. We try to take them out, and we've kind of revolved our research days around taking kids out into new areas too.
Yeah, for sure.
It's taking them for hikes and doing all that stuff. It's pretty cool. Getting to do it a little different than everybody does. Family, do you know RPG? No. I'm not sure if you know who RPG is or not.
I might, but I'm not sure.
He's the master of ceremonies for all the conferences, for the Great Florida, for the Smoky Mountain one. He was on the very first season of Expedition Bigfoot. He's the one that got sick.
Yes. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, he's come out with me out there in my areas. He lives pretty close to us. A good friend of mine. He's come out and got to go out there with us quite a few times. Him and his kids. And so we're trying to do more with our kids. Get out and promote doing stuff with kids, Bigfoot and kids.
Yeah, I'm sure that brings out a lot of activity as well. So yeah,
his daughter's running for the Junior Ranger competition too, Sky.
Oh, cool! Shout out Sky.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, well, that's very cool, very cool. But yeah, I'm a little stuck on that whole shining the light and seeing through the hair. It's a great observation that you've made there. The one thing that is interesting is like the darker colored skin, because I would say that the majority, well, let me think about that a minute. Over half of the ones I've seen, like in either in light or within the daylight, appear to have like more whitish or tannish color.
Mm-hmm.
But I have seen, I want to say 1 or 2 when I was out in Tennessee that had like that darker color skin. What do you think is the reason behind that? Do you have any theories on it?
I think that just all right, if you go out to the Pacific Northwest, these things are bulkier, bigger. It gets cold out there. Everything's bigger out there. You come to Florida, everything starts getting smaller, especially the farther south you go towards the Everglades. The farther and farther you go, the deer get smaller, the cats get smaller, everything gets smaller. And I think it's the same with them. I think they're not necessarily they're shorter. I just think they're more lean. They're muscular, they're strong, the same, but they're more lean. Right. And that body, that skin tone also would make sense if you're in this hot of an environment, or if you're out in the sun or whatever. I think it does a lot. And that darker skin, I think, would have a tendency to be oilier. And if you're living in a swamp, and this one's jet black too, by the way, he was jet black hair, and that skin, I think that skin helps with everything in their environment, and the skin and the hair, it's bug detour and freaking sun and everything. I mean, you think about humans who have dark skin. Look at the environments they live in. Africa, places that are a lot more sun, and Florida is about the hottest place in the United States. So it kind of makes sense a little bit,
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Although I'd be lying if I didn't say when you first said it looked oily, my first thought was oh, Florida, he's probably sweaty. It's humid. That was my first thought. I was like, oh yeah, poor fella.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what it could be. It could be just I don't know how much they sweat,
Yeah, who knows? But no, I'm agreeing with you. I mean, the oil makes a lot of sense because the ones that I've seen have always been, very oily. Like it's weird to describe their hair. Like normally, because the majority of the ones I've seen were black as well. It's like coarse, like so coarse that it's insane, and it's like it almost absorbs the light, but yet the light is still able to pass through, and it's shining off their skin or off parts of their hair. It's such a weird thing.
Man, it is. It's just like that's the closest I've been.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the light really played tricks with my eyes on it and played tricks with his camouflage. Like that camouflage is made to be from a little ways away, I think. And it can blend in with anything. You go back and like I've gone through videos and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, there was something right next to me. I didn't even know it.
Right.
And but it looks different. I have had a couple other encounters from a distance, and like I saw something cross tree to tree, and he was black, and I think had silvers and grays in him as he crossed over, and like I think most of the ones around here are that color. And there is one that I have a picture of that in between the two trees, and he's looking at me, and I got him in 3 different trees looking kind of at me, and he's almost white. He's like a whitish color. And he's like white and black together, but he's got white patch under his chin. And I'd have to show you the picture for you to understand it, but
yeah. But sounds cool.
It's cool. But I think most of them in our area tend to be more the black colors, what I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, like I said, the majority of the ones I've seen have all been black. I think I've only seen a brownish red one twice, I want to say.
Either that, or it's just the fact that they are brown or whatever, and it changes color. Could be that way too. If I wouldn't have been that close to one with the light, I would have. I know that one was black, but the other ones could be just shadowy because they move. Like that one, the first one I saw, it looked dark until we hit the light. Same thing with David Shealy's video down in the Everglades. If you really watch his video, we were the first ones to ever go out there and try to debunk that. And that's how we became really good friends with David, is we were the first ones to go out there, the first group or anybody to go walk out there and walk where his sighting was. He's got that real famous sighting down there with that 7-minute video.
Yeah.
And that thing, it looks dark until it's the light, and then it was cinnamon colored too.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, we both made the observation earlier that you look at the hair one way black, the other way brownish red. Yeah. So yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even think about it. We kind of answered our own question there.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question for you from the audience. How tall are they roughly, do you think, there in Florida?
Between 6 and 9 feet, if I had to guess.
Okay.
We had a size comparison of a photo I did. I had Stacey Brown and his photographer came out with me, and one of the first people I ever met, and he went with me into the area, and his photographer stood right where I had a picture. I had a blurry picture, and he was standing right where that was, and we estimated it to be 9 foot tall. That one, and that's right, and that's exactly the same area where the tree got pushed over, and I found 20-inch or 19-inch footprints, which 4 years ago I found 19-inch footprints. This past year I found a 20-inch footprint out there. Did he grow?
I mean, if the shoe fits, right?
Right. And I was with my dog that day, and it never even, there were so many smells going on. I found some trees that like palmettos had been pushed over, palm trees, and under it had been dug out. It was beds. That's what they were. And that's right where I got the picture of this thing. And that's where we were doing the size comparison at.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. Actually, you know what? I do have another question. It's not from the audience yet, but I'm sure she'll ask if I don't. Do you happen to know what your blood type is?
I'm not positive. I'm not 100% positive, but I can tell you I'm the blood type that the mosquitoes and bugs love.
So probably O positive.
Yeah, I am definitely the type that the mosquitoes love. They follow me and they won't touch anyone, and they'll be all on me.
Nice. So note to self, everybody, when you go out to Florida, make sure you hang out with Mike because he's a cool guy, and mosquitoes love him more than you.
The mosquitoes and the deer flies and the no-see-ums, they all love me.
Nice. Okay, cool. Well, let's see here. Well, man, I think I think that was awesome. Your experiences are very good, very detailed. Obviously BFRO even like it. I mean, it seems to me like you're getting up to some great work out there, brother.
I appreciate it, man. We got some cool things coming. Our group's got some really cool things coming out. We just got done doing an article for Popular Mechanics magazine. That was really awesome.
I saw that. Yeah, that was really cool.
That was an awesome article that they did, man. We were really impressed by that. I couldn't believe it, man. They brought a person. We were in Jennings State Forest, and they brought, because we had found a trackway out there last year. We found a trackway in Jennings that was 16-inch footprints, 54-inch stride for a quarter mile. They went. It was wild, and it dead end into a creek.
Right.
And that was that one. Actually, we made it. They put it on the cover of the Bigfoot News magazine. It was really cool. It was a cool picture of the whole group with that big footprint there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. That's awesome, dude. Wow. Okay. Well, cool. Well, I guess before we get out of here, hit the things that you want to highlight, man.
Well, if anybody take a few minutes and go to that link and vote for my son, that would be awesome. He's very deserving of that little Ranger Rick award, and I hope that he gets in the top and he has a chance to win. I mean, there's also a $20,000 prize that goes with it, but it's more so he wants the experience to go hang out with him, be on the cover and all that. He'd love it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, make sure everybody out there that you guys go and do that for us, please.
And you can go anytime to our Facebook page, and me or Marie will, there's a few questions to ask to join the group. And then we've got our website, and the same thing, Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research. Mm-hmm. And we've also, she got all kinds of stuff, man. We got some great videos on YouTube also. Our website's good. Website's very detailed on everything we've done, but the YouTube has a lot of videos and a lot of things that we've been part of. You can also see our David Shealy study on our YouTube page. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty cool. It's about 20 minutes long, goes into real good detail. You can check it out.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys know what to do out there in YouTube land. Go out there and check it out. Show these guys some love because they're awesome and they're doing fantastic work. So, yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man. And do me a favor and hang out for a second. And I'm going to kill this thing and we'll talk for a minute. Cool?
All right, man.
Cool. All right. So give me 1 minute. All right, guys. Well, that's the show for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned a few things. I know I certainly did. And it was great. This man has some fantastic stories. And like I said, it looks like they're getting up to some great work out there in Florida. Make sure you guys, go out and vote for Mr. Kalen because that sounds like a real cool thing. So let's see if we can't make his day too. But yeah, I hope everybody's hit the like button on the way out. I hope that, everybody's subscribed and all the fun stuff that, we talk about that I hate to beg you to do. But, leave a like, leave a comment, all the fun stuff. Check out the Patreon, check out the merch store, check out Mystic Mountain Creations. Go get you some awesome thermal cups because we love our Jenny and Mike Zielinski out there. They make awesome stuff and they help the hurricane victims of Helene. So it's a great cause. And you don't have to get my stuff from them. You can get your own stuff. They make anything. They're great folks and they make good products. And I do believe that's about all that I have got for tonight. So, guys, I love you. Be good. And, tuki tuki. Peace.